What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Tempus TV. I was checking out my video catalog earlier today and I realized I've talked a lot of positives about Thailand, but there are quite a few things here that if these really bother you and you feel like it's something that you're not going to be able to deal with, this is 6 reasons why you should not move to Thailand. Let's go. So obviously, if you're coming from a Western country and you're planning on coming to Thailand, whether it be for just a trip or maybe even long term, obviously it's a completely different culture. There's going to be quite a few things that are different here compared to at home. Now, me personally, all these things are definitely things that I can work around and it's no big deal, albeit sometimes they do get a little bit of a pain. But if any of these are something that you think you might not be able to deal with, honestly, you might want to reconsider. You might want to consider going to somewhere else for vacation, or you might want to consider somewhere else to retire or come and move full-time. So we are going to jump right into it, and one of the big ones off rip, obviously this isn't solely true, but a lot of the times when it comes to places to live, a lot of the places are older building-wise, and a lot of the places are much smaller than you might be used to in your home country. Now, obviously, most of the time places are going to be a lot cheaper, but if you're somewhere that needs to be in a brand new building all the time, to have all the amenities, the infinity pool on the roof, this can be found in Thailand, but generally condos especially, and some houses in certain areas are going to be much older, they're going to be much smaller, but generally they're going to be much cheaper as well. But if you need something that's brand new, it might be a little bit harder to find, and you're definitely going to be paying a premium for it because there are a lot of people here that want those brand new places. It's not really like the States, especially where they're always building some new condo or apartment, so it's easy to find places that are new. It can be much more difficult to find that in Thailand. Number 2 is one that I get stuck by pretty frequently, and that has to do with clothing. So obviously, if you're coming from a Western country, you're coming to Thailand, people in Thailand generally have a smaller stature than a lot of foreigners. So when you go into most clothing shops and things like that, they are catered to Thai people mostly. So it can be hard to find clothes in your sizes if you're a bigger person. And this doesn't necessarily mean you have to be heavy. I'm not a very heavy guy, but I am tall. I'm 6'3", I'm over 2 meters tall. So actually, I don't know if that's over 2 meters, but 2 meters tall. The sizing in Thailand can be very difficult sometimes, and especially when it comes to ordering stuff online. Obviously, when you go into a store, you can try stuff on. Sometimes, this is something that's very different in Thailand too. Some places don't want you to try on the clothes. But if you're somebody who likes to have bigger clothing, it can be very hard to find sometimes, and it can be a bit of a pain to find things that fit the way you like them to fit. Number 3, another thing that kind of has to do with shopping is a lot of places in Thailand, especially like electronic stores, appliances, furniture like that, have a no return policy unless the item is defective, and then sometimes even then it can still be a bit of a pain. But generally speaking, if you go in to buy clothing or anything like that, if you go in to buy a TV, something like that, and you get home and you realize it doesn't fit or whatever, a lot of places, if you're not careful, there are no return policies, and rarely does it say it on receipts or on signage around the places that you're in. So if this is something that you're worried about, obviously before you make the purchase, double check and make sure, if anything, if it doesn't work, you can bring it back and do your best to get it in writing. I have heard of people going out and buying stuff and customer service people tell them like, oh yeah, if it doesn't work, you can bring it back, and then come to find out when they bring it back, that wasn't true. So this is something to watch out for, especially if you're shelling out a little bit of money for something that you need. It's not like in the States where as long as you bring it back your receipt in the same box and it's not used or damaged or anything, you can return it. A lot of the times that is not the case in Thailand. Number 4, this is one that I've had to deal with a bit, and if you are a foreigner coming to Thailand, you are gonna have to deal with it as well. And that is that Thailand is a little behind the curve when it comes to online forms, any like legal documents, things like that. Thailand is very much still a paper society. That meaning when you have to fill out any type of forms or anything like that, rarely are you going to be able to go to online and do this. If you're from the States, you're especially spoiled with this. I've come to find out in the States, if you have your phone and internet, you can get pretty much anything done online, even if you need to sign documents and things like that. That's generally not the case here in Thailand when it comes to like your immigration stuff and things like that. You're going to have to go down, you're going to have to file paperwork in person, and a lot of the time these forms can be a little bit hard to interpret because most of the time they just do a direct translation from Thai to English, so the instructions can be a little bit broken and it can be a little bit difficult and intimidating at times. But luckily there have been plenty of people traveling to Thailand for a long time, so generally you can find forums and things like that online to kind of help you through the process. And every once in a while you will get lucky and there will be something that you can file online, but generally be ready to fill out paperwork and be ready to have to go into places and file things in person. Next one on our list has to do with food. Obviously, if you're traveling to Thailand, you've probably heard great things about the food. When it comes to quality, obviously the food in Thailand is amazing. When it comes to price, the food is really amazing, and that's not just Thai food, it's food all across the board. You can find tons of great food here from all over the world. But one thing that will take some getting used to, especially if you're a little bit picky about it, is the portion size. So generally, Thais don't really do the whole 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner type things. Thais, we say in the States, if you're a grazer, you just kind of eat a little bit all day, which is personally how I like to eat most of the time, so it's not that big a deal for me. Thais don't really eat big meals, so when you go into places and you order food, generally portions are going to be a little bit smaller. Granted, things are going to be much cheaper than in your home country, so if you think about the food to cost ratio, it's pretty fair. But if you're somebody who likes to sit down, maybe you only eat once or twice a day and you do like to put down a lot of food, just be ready to probably order a little bit more than you're used to, but the quality is going to be great and you are getting what you pay for when it comes to the money. But if you like big meals, be ready for that. In Thailand, generally the portions are a little bit smaller. And our last one could be a little bit of a bummer if you're really still into like media and things like that from your home country. Obviously, with Thailand being in Asia, if you're still used to things in your country like movies, clothing releases, stuff like that, obviously all that stuff is going to take a little bit more time to get to Thailand after it does a release. And that's to say, even if it does make it to Thailand. So me, I'm a big movie guy. Obviously, I like to watch American movies, and I'll use Avatar as an example. So that didn't come out here until almost 3 weeks after it came out in the States, which is kind of a bummer because if you're, especially with a movie like that, it's hard to avoid spoilers and things. But for me, not that big a deal. I like movies, but I don't really mind watching them a little bit later. But if this is something that might bother you, or if you're a big clothes guy and you like to get the stuff as soon as it comes out, it's something you need to know in Thailand. It might take you a little bit longer to get access to it. All right, guys, so that was 6 reasons that if these are gonna bother you so much where you're not gonna have a good time, you might wanna reconsider coming to Thailand. In my opinion, these are all things that are super easy to get over when we talk about the other positives of Thailand. And if you'd like to hear about those, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit up my Everything Thailand playlist. I've got tons of stuff in there talking about the great things about Thailand. As always, if you guys would like to support the channel, best way to do that is go down, click that subscribe button, click like on the video. That way you get updated every time I upload. I upload every single day, and I do live streams twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays for me. I'm not sure the time difference of where you're watching, but those will be when I'm doing live streams. As always, I hope you have a great day. Tell somebody you love them. We'll see you in the next one.